Welcome back to Real Estate Real Talk. Before we get into our conversation with Mary Wester, let's go to the Wilson Group listing of the week. Always a fun thing to do. This home is in Bellevue. It is listed at $285,000, which ain't half bad anymore. The address is 7160 Bay Cove Trail. If you go out Highway 70 and turn left onto Old Harding, right onto Morton Mill, left onto Bay Cove Trail, the house will be on the left. It is sitting on almost a half an acre. It is a 3-bed, 2.5-bath house, and the total square footage of this is 2,682 square feet. Taxes, last reported taxes are $2,470 per year, which isn't half bad either anymore. I haven't seen this house, but I have talked to 2 or 3 people who have. It just got listed, and they tell me that this is a bunch of house for the money. I get a question a lot, is there any good deals left in town with all the people coming here? And I think this is a great example of one. Good looking house and a lot of room in it. Nice floor plan as well. So that is the Wilson Group listing of the week. Before we, well, I'm going to say welcome to Mary Wester. Mary Wester is the president of the Real Estate Investors of Nashville, an organization that's been around for 20-something years, and we're all quite familiar with them. We're going to get into some questions with Mary, but we already have a caller, and I believe that is Rachel, and I'm going to see what's on your mind. Rachel, are you, is that you?
It is.
Hi, Rachel. What's your question?
Okay. Me and my husband, we have recently started renting a 2-year rental. It's an older home built in the 50s. And after our 2-year lease, we will be having the home financed. And there are some exposed gas lines and some awkward-looking things that it doesn't generate off of gas, heating, or water anymore. And I'm just wondering if that is illegal or in violation of some kind of code.
Wow, that's a great question. Where are these in, like, the backyard or coming in the side of the house?
It comes from the side of the house, and then it goes beneath the house, and then it comes up out of the ground in the backyard. And there's, like, staining from where you still see gas around it.
Yeah. You know, to have an old gas line coming in the house isn't a problem, but they're supposed to be buried a certain number of inches below the surface, and so if they're at the surface, that could be a problem if there's any gas left in them. The gas company's going to want to know about that because they're all about safety. So I would say that whether you own it or rent it, either way, gas company would want to know about this, and they will generally come out there in fairly short order. So you may see them the next day or something like that. But I guess it's Nashville Gas that you would talk to.
Okay.
Does that help?
All right, and all right. Well, thank you so much.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
George, is that you?
Yes, thank you so much for taking my call.
You bet, man.
Okay, I was looking at a house up here in Madison, and I was really interested in it and got pre-approved for a loan, and the guy set it up for us to close, even though he put it off 2 or 3 weeks. So the 30-day window hold expired, and they want me to renew it for another 10 days while they close. But the problem is I've changed my mind on the home because it was advertised for 2 bedrooms, and it needs some things fixed. It's like it don't have clauses, you know, one home made clause. It's really a bedroom and a half. It really ain't no 2-bedroom, and it's got wood right around the windowsills that they supposed to be fixing, but they claim if they fix it, they don't want no paperwork on it because it'll make it be under warranty. They feel like it might be under warranty. They don't want to sign off that they fixed it, even though they said they fixed it.
Well,
so now I don't know. It's a nice little home and everything, shed in the back and everything, but will I be liable if I change my mind and just said, no, I don't want to purchase this home?
Well, the worst that can happen, I imagine, is that you would lose your earnest money. But not seeing the contract, I can't answer specifically. In your contract, you have contingencies that need to be met, and if they can't be met, then you might be able to get out. One might be an inspection, and if you're not satisfied with the repairs that need to take place on the inspection, you could get out that way, or a financing contingency. And I don't know what you've got in yours. Do you have anything to add to that, Mary?
I think that's the bulk of it.
Yeah.
Is that
One other thing is, the real estate lending agencies, they wanted me to get a note from my doctor because I'm a veteran and wanted to know if my health is going to continue or is it going to, is it going to go up or downhill, persist or whatever before they can approve the loan. And I couldn't get a note from the doctor. I had to go to the VA main center downtown to get that, but just so about my finances. But I didn't get that note from the doctor. Will it still is it still legal? I mean, that should be out too, shouldn't it?
Well, if the if your mortgage company cannot go through with giving you the mortgage without that note, and you can't get that note, then essentially you aren't qualified for the mortgage all the way. So that may very well be an out if you have a financing contingency in your contract. So I would read through your contract and just be sure that you do. I don't know if this was done through a realtor. If it was, then I'm sure you have it on there. And that may very well be your way out of this.
But they just preliminarily, they just gave me preliminary notes, but they ain't gave me nothing accurate. I'm just signing off on previews right now, but they haven't given me nothing standard, because they don't have nothing really. They just gave me guesstimates, but they don't really have nothing on nothing out there until I close to see all the paperwork. So I'm thinking, I like to see everything up front before I close, but now I got to go in there and see a bunch of papers sign off on I won't be able to review.
Yeah, the government's having you sign a lot of paperwork these days on a mortgage, and so they want you to know what you're getting into first, and then when it comes closer to closing time, you'll know exactly what you're getting into, and those numbers will be precise. And it doesn't sound like you're to that point yet. It also doesn't sound like you are to the point of having a true approval on your mortgage. You might have been pre-approved, assuming that everything works out, and if everything hasn't worked out, they can't give you a final approval. Do you have a realtor involved?
Yes, I do, and I've been trying to work with him, and but he seems to be pushing. You need this, you need that, you need this property bad, get it. But I've been trying to, hesitate a little bit because I'm a first-time home buyer. I'm a little uneasy, and I'm unsure what I want this property. So I really want to take a second thought, because it's not working out like I thought it would.
It's a big commitment. It's a big commitment, and usually the biggest purchase that we ever make. I would say that you should get with the realtor and kind of go through the contract and be sure you understand exactly where you are and talk this out with them. And there's plenty, there's other houses out there. There's a lot for sale in Madison, so that if this isn't the one for you, I'm sure you can find another one. Okay,
thank you so much. I appreciate your answer. You kind of relieve some of the stress. I've been sleeping lately, rest, so I appreciate you giving me information. I just really continue to look at if that's the problem.
I would just be sure somebody else reviews that contract to be sure that you get your earnest money back.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, okay?
You bet. And thanks for calling in, George. Sarah's on one. We got a lot of phone calls this morning, Mary.
Great.
Good morning, Sarah.
Hi, yes, I have a question regarding foreclosure. Renting a house, what are renters' rights?
You're renting a house that has gone into foreclosure?
Yes.
Wow, we don't hear that much anymore. We did in the old days. What specifically is your question?
What is my renter's rights? How long can I remain in the home after it's actually going through a bankruptcy? So I'm curious as to how long I can remain in the home after the bankruptcy and the foreclosure takes place. We have a contract till January 1st.
Okay. That takes so much time. I would suspect this again is another thing where we need to see specifics on some of your paperwork, and if you want to call in or give Mary your information later, we can get back with you on this. But I would say that you probably this takes enough time typically that you would, we're halfway through the year, that you would be able to, in most circumstances, be able to get there. But there's a lot of details around this type of thing that we would need to take a look at. It isn't just a blanket statement.
Okay. The landlord is no longer charging me rent. Will I need to pay the mortgage company rent? Will they contact me?
I would imagine you're going to get contacted, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, get her information. That would be great. Thanks. Okay. Okay, you were on hold. Thank you. Well, let's start a conversation with you. Welcome, Mary. Mary Wester is president of the Real Estate Investors of Nashville, which is a group that's probably been around for 25 years, I'm going to say.
I think it started in the early 80s.
Yeah, wow. I know I've been a member for somewhere around 16, 18 years. It's a wonderful organization. Tell us about yourself and how did you get involved in investment real estate?
I guess I'm really an accidental real estate investor. I
Didn't mean to do it.
Didn't mean to do it, but I've always had an interest in real estate. Way back when I took a class from Ray Bell, who was an icon in real estate in Tennessee, and I just wanted to know about the basics of how to build a house, how to add on a house. I always thought maybe I would add on to my Charlotte Park house that I bought way back in probably in 78, 77. Bought it for $33,700. I was just thinking about that. You can't buy a house in Charlotte Park for that these days. It's closer to $179,000 to get that same house again.
Yes, yes. Things have changed a lot. It looks like we have a lot of callers. I believe George, our friend who was getting cold feet on his house, has called back.
Okay.
I think that's the same George. George, is that you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The attorney, one of the attorneys just called, questioned him earlier, and he said I could be liable if I change my mind and get sued, not only lose the earnest money, but possibly get sued.
Well,
Is that true?
I don't think that you have gotten to the point where you are that far into the transaction. I hate to give too much advice on something like this without seeing your contract, knowing the specifics of it, but it doesn't sound like you have an approval yet, and if you have a financing contingency in your contract and you are not approved, you can't buy the house.
Right.
If you can't borrow the money, you can't buy the house, and that is usually you're out. So that is something that you need to get with your real estate agent and just go over and see what the story is on that. Sounds like people are ganging up on you a little bit. It's kind of odd. Usually they're there to help you.
Yes, they are. That's what's got me stressing out, because I've gotten 100 calls from different people in their office, and it's kind of stressing me out with different ones, you know, in the same office. And it just giving me different information, you know, from the finance company, and I don't know.
Well, I will tell you this, a real estate title company employs attorneys, and they are very used to looking at contracts. You might have one written in your contract that somebody was looking to use. A quick phone call to them will be able to have them go over your contract and just to see where you stand on that.
Okay. Thank you so much, okay?
You bet, buddy. Good luck.
That's good advice, I think. Just, he may not know enough, and he may not have a title company representing him.
Right.
And so it makes sense to make sure that when you're presented a contract, you always check the financing contingency. Always, always check that. And if he's getting pressure that he's going to lose his deposit or his earnest money, rather, it sounds like he didn't get that checked.
Well, we don't know who's calling and who's representing who in this scenario,
Right.
but you're right. Always check the box for financing contingency and of course home inspection. You need to be able to get out of contract if things just aren't right before you get in, and you always need a way out, even up to the last minute, as is his case. I suspect that he'll be okay, but he does need to have someone else check that out, I think.
I agree.
We were talking about real estate investors in Nashville. Well, tell us a little bit about the group here. How many members? Give us a little bit of flavor of the group.
We've been growing as people are getting back into real estate. They're wanting some kind of education. So we're up to closer to 500 members now.
Wow. Is that just in Nashville, or is it the Middle Tennessee area? How far out do you go?
We have a core in the Davidson County area, but we have members from the surrounding counties, and we have people who come to select meetings that are as far away as Bowling Green, Kentucky. And we have a few people that come from Knoxville. Even though there's a small group in Knoxville, some people come from Knoxville and east and west, and we even attract people from Daxon or Memphis from time to time.
Yeah. I would say most cities have a real estate investment group. It just doesn't happen to be the size and as well organized as the one we are fortunate to have here. Would that be?
Oh, definitely. We have one of the oldest in the nation, and we are organized in that we have education classes. A lot of the groups only have a monthly meeting, or they might have kind of a meetup group philosophy where they just kind of get together. But we have an entire program, and we're probably only one of two that actually have a library where members can check it out.
That's right. You can check out books and tapes, and you have a lot of education, which we're going to get into next. Is there a focus in the group that you specialize in, or is it wide open?
We're unusual in that too, that we have a good share of landlords, people who do rental housing, as well as those that are basically entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. They are in all different kinds of areas. A lot of them are renovating properties, rehabbing, and then there's the people that are builders that are building new these days because of the economy and the way it is. People want new. And we have people concentrating also in self-storage units, some apartment complexes, small ones where they can manage themselves or hire a management company to do them. And we have some people that are interested in mobile homes or buying mortgages. Like if I had a mortgage with you and I no longer wanted to hold the mortgage, I wanted my money now, other people will go buy those mortgages.
Okay. Well, yes, it sounds like there's a lot going on. When I have been there, I have seen everything from A to Z, and I would say that even people like some of the callers who have checked in today, this isn't a bad group for them to check into as well if you're just looking for a house of your own or first time, because you will get quite an education. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the education courses that the group offers and what you can get out of it and what it costs to get into it. So we'll be back right after this.